Hello, beautiful people. So I'm a bit late. This session was about to start 10 minutes ago, but then I had a bit of a glitch from my side, But yeah, we're gonna be studying. We're gonna be starting. Hey, we're gonna be starting in 5 minutes, right? So from 8:15, right? That's when we'll be starting, basically. For now, I just wanna check and see if everything is proper here. I just wanna confirm everything. Because I don't wanna be here yapping only to find out that I'm not even audible. So I'm just gonna check that. I hope everyone is doing great. I hope everyone is ready to study for the next 4 hours, or maybe 3, because there's school tomorrow. I'm not sure, but yeah, we'll see what happens when we get to 3 hours. If it's something that's still, if we're able to continue from there, basically. But yeah, excuse me. So I'm just trying to check here if this thing is working properly, and then if it is, then okay, yeah, perfect. So many hearts, show me, whoever you are. But yeah, we're about to start in 4 minutes. So I think we're just gonna do it in 45-minute blocks, right? Instead of 25, we're gonna do it in 45 minutes blocks. 45-minute blocks, because it's not necessarily easier, but then we're gonna be able to, we're gonna say that from 8:15 until 9 p.m. and then from 9 p.m. we take a 15-minute break, and then we go back at 9:15 to 10:15, and so on and so forth. Or you see the maths behind that. So yeah, that's essentially how we're gonna be doing it. I don't know why I look like a dream today. My camera is acting up. I look so, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that's fine. As long as you guys can hear me and you are also studying from your side, then don't worry about how my camera is looking. But yeah, let me just see. Yeah, no. I look like when a person is hallucinating, like those lines that they show on the sides. I look like a dream or a hallucination. But yeah. So just before we start, right? I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about what's this thing I was reading today? What is this? I would have to get the book. Just give me a second. So I was reading something today from the book Getting Things Done, right, by David Allen. This book right here. It's a beautiful book. It's long and extensive, but then it's a very, very beautiful and insightful book. I just started it a few days ago, and he said something about he said something so insightful. I even forgot what it is, so I'm just gonna check. It was so beautiful, even like when I read it. Oh, it was on the things that are on your mind. So when you have tasks to do, right? When you have tasks to do, he is basically looking at it from the perspective of stress, right? So when you have, let's say you are stressed about an upcoming test, right? So I actually once talked about something similar. Great minds what alike. But yeah, he's basically talking about how when you're stressed about a task, or when a task is regularly walking around your mind. I forgot what this word is. Lingering. There's a word around those lines, right? But when a task or something that you have to do is basically up and down your mind, and you can't stop thinking about it, like that computer science assignment I have to complete it, right? He's basically talking about how just try to, number one, how are you planning on completing it, right? So yes, it's stressing you now. I think this light is too bright. Yeah. Yes, it's stressing you now, ne, but what what are you what are you planning on doing about it, right? So for example, if maybe I have an assignment to complete, right? I have an assignment that is due in 2 days, right? It's due in 2 days. It's due in 2 days. I'm basically stressed about completing it. And then he talks about how you should, I'm not even going to explain the background about it, but what you should do when you're stressed about something, right? Number one, write it down. And number two, write down the process you would typically take towards solving that thing. Like, so basically the action process as towards solving a particular assignment. So let's say you're working on something, and then he's basically saying that in the process of working on that assignment, write down, or okay, if this is an essay, I'm going to start with the introduction. This is what my introduction is going to contain, and then I move to my body. This is what I'm going to talk about, blah blah blah, and then that's it, right? And then there's the second thing. So there are two things, right? So there is how do I do it, and then there is the what you call this thing. No, I'm lying actually. The first one is what you intend to bring out of that thing. So right, let's say for example you're working on, you know what, I'll explain this properly during my second break, because no, so I'm just blabbering. So let's go and study and stop listening to me. Forget what I just said. I'll explain it properly because it's a bit long. Or I'll explain it properly after this first session, which is starting now at 2017, and then it's gonna end in 43 minutes at 9 p.m. And then yeah, from there I think we can have a conversation. But for now I'll leave it there because even I am not making sense to myself. So yeah, let's get cracking, and all the best for the next 45 minutes. Okay. So yeah, that's basically time for our break. So we're gonna be splitting the sessions into 25 minute, what do they call them, in 25 minutes, right? So like from now we're gonna take a 5 minute break until 2050, and then from 2050 it's a 25 minute session that ends at 21:15, or and so on and so forth, right? So I'm just gonna try and check the comments for now, and if you guys have any questions you can pop them through now, because yeah, 25 minute sessions are more efficient, because even when you're tired, right, when you're like super tired, the 25 minutes goes by very very quickly, and you don't feel you don't feel drained basically from the studying, right? Because it's just quick and short sessions. I just want to check here if there are any questions and all that. So Chavika or Tato, yeah, this is Tato, ne? Yeah, this is Tato. Tato said, how many subjects do you study during your study periods, and do you like give the same time to all subjects? How many subjects do I study and do I give the same time? It depends. So right now, I only have 3 courses or subjects. I only have 3 subjects basically. So that's all I'm doing. I'm doing computer science. I have system analysis, which is basically another computer science, and then I have accounting, right? So I only have 3 things that I'm studying. And from these 3, it depends, right? It depends on, I always plan, right, my study sessions, right? So it totally depends on how much work that needs to be covered in that particular thing. So for example, right now I'm working on an assignment. I'm working on a computer science assignment. So it's nothing. I wouldn't say I'm gonna give time to something else maybe from 10 p.m. or something. I want to complete this first, and then once I'm done, then I move to the next thing on the list, right? So it's not about the time, right? It's not about spending 30 minutes studying something, but then having a range. If you're studying a topic, say I'm gonna start from the beginning of this topic and then until page 33, right? So you're not gonna stop when 30 minutes is up, but then you're gonna stop when you get to page 33. So it should be, your limits should be content wise and not based on time. Because now imagine you said only 30 minutes for maths, and then in that 30 minutes you only did 1 question. You only did 1, and then the second one you tried, it was difficult, you left it. You see, there was nothing productive out of that. But then if you switch that and then you say, I'm gonna sit down and do maths, I'm planning on doing 5 questions, you're not gonna stop doing maths until you complete those 5 questions, you see. So that's a shift in perspective basically. So yeah, I don't give time to the things that I do. I basically have a checklist and then work down the checklist. So my checklist is very specific. I'm gonna start by saying study the full chapter 3 and complete, or study chapter 3 until this particular section, or do 5 practice questions. I do 5 practice questions, and then once I'm done with it, right? And then I move on to the next thing. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. There's no formula to how much time you give to the things, or do you how many subjects you do. It just depends on the, what do they say again, it's not about the it's not about the amount of time you spend studying. It's about how much content you actually cover in those study sessions. I can study for 3 hours, you study for 3 hours, but you find that in my 3 hours I answered 10 questions, and then in your 3 hours you were struggling with 2 questions. You see, we both did 3 hours of studying the same thing, but then the outcome was not the same because I took a different approach in answering the questions. Whenever I'm stuck, I go to the next one, I come back later, you see. So it's all about the method in which you approach your content, right? I don't know why I look like a dream in today's live. My phone is very shh, it has a shh sound to it. I don't know why it's looking like that. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. So yeah, it's already 2050, so we're gonna go in for another 25-minute session, which is going to end at approximately 9:15, right? So in the next 25 minutes, and then we move on from there. If you have any questions, you just drop them now, and then we answer them during the study breaks. But for now, we're just gonna jump right into it for another 25 minutes. Let's go. Okay, so yeah, it's time for our break. I'm actually a bit late, so extend the break by 2 to 3 minutes. But yeah, this is our second break, right? And we're basically doing 25-minute sessions for those who just joined. You're joined. For those who just joined, right? We're doing 25-minute sessions. So meaning now at let's make it 25. So at 25, 21, 25, we're gonna be going for a 25-minute session, and then we take a 5-minute break, and so on and so forth, right? If this was a longer session, what we're gonna do is that we take a longer break after like 4 25-minute sessions. But then because this one is gonna end at most likely 11, we're gonna end the session at 11. It's gonna be a bit it's not, it's pointless to like make it to have those sessions, I mean that longer break in between. So what we're gonna do is make the 25-minute sessions 25-minute sessions until 11 p.m. hits basically. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. I don't know if there are any questions here. Nah, there are none. Just double check. I think it's exactly how I left it. um so so yeah, basically that's pretty much about it in terms of what we're doing. Oh no, I lied. My break is actually now I mean, we're supposed to go back now at 21:20. I'm the one who basically, I've been saying basically, I'm the one who came late, right? So I just want to check these comments here. Yeah, cool jacket, we support you. Thank you, Kartik. Show Bralamini. Yeah, so that's pretty much about it. And I just wanted to say also that yeah, I'm gonna be back to posting properly on YouTube. Mainly because I wasn't really consistent. I would just do a video whenever I felt like it. But then now I'm just gonna try and post more regularly ish. Post more regularly ish and see how that goes. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. I think for now we can go back. That's the problem with these breaks. They're very very short, so you don't really feel it, right? So now we're gonna go back and then come back at 21:45, right? So is it 21:45? Yeah, it's in 25 minutes. So we're gonna go back now and then come back at 21:45, which is our next break, right? So yeah, that's pretty much gonna be the rhythm now and then, now and then, now and then, because we are trying to avoid burnout as much as possible, right? So yeah, with these short sessions you are able to regain your energy during these breaks and redeem yourself. But then when you're having a 1 hour long sessions, it's not as easy, because I don't know why, I don't know because of what, but yeah, it's easier to be able to have these shorter sessions whereby you study for 25 minutes and then you take a break, 25 minutes, take a short break, and so on and so forth. It's something that helps your memory to come back very fast, right? Otherwise, if you're taking a 2 hour long study session, if I ask you in that 2 hours what were you studying at the beginning, or tell me what you were doing in the first 10 minutes, you won't really remember, or in the middle, right? So taking breaks is something that just helps you refresh, and yeah man, you are able to just remember most of the things that you study, or understand better the questions that you practice. But yeah, that's pretty much about it from me. That's all I wanted to say. So now we're gonna go back and then come back at 21:45 for our next break. Cheers. Okay, so yeah, we're on our third break now. Although I'm still uncomfortable with the fact that my camera today looks nuts. I look like I'm dreaming, or I am in a dream. It doesn't look nice, but yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about the camera. So yeah, we're done with the third session, right? So right now we'll just be, let me just see. Yeah, so right now we'll just be, what you call this thing, we're just gonna take a quick break, right, for the next 5 minutes or so, and then after that we do one more 25 minutes. So I'm assuming basically after this one, or like the next three, will be left with 3 sessions, right? 3 very short 25-minute sessions, and then we're done for the day. So, and then the same thing is gonna apply tomorrow. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. I just want to check if there's anything in the chat box. Is it a chat box? Yes, it's a chat box. What am I studying for? Hello Moss, how are you? I'm completing an assignment. I'm basically completing a computer science assignment. Not necessarily studying, but just trying to work around this assignment. It's pretty about it. I just want to check if everything is fine here, because sometimes this thing just chooses to freeze randomly. Oh, so I just want to confirm. Yeah, I think all is good. So yeah, in about a minute or two we'll just be diving into our fourth actually. We've been here for the past 1 hour and 39 minutes. So we're going in for the fourth session, right, which will end at approximately 22:15, right? 22:15. Actually, I lied. So we're gonna have only 2 more sessions after this, right? So from here we're gonna pull 2 more sessions of 25 minutes with a 5-minute break in between, and then we're done for the day, right? Also, because tomorrow there's school, we can't be pulling that one until 12. So what I'm gonna do on a more regular basis, it's gonna be from 7:30 until 11:30, which will be 4 hours. But today, just simply because it wasn't planned properly, then we're just gonna shift around that. But yeah, what major? Computer science is the major, right? So I'm doing a major in computer science, and yeah, it's the only thing I'm basically doing. There's nothing else. I don't have any maths, I don't have physics. It's literally just computer science, and then that's it, right? So yeah, that's what I'm focusing on. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. I just wanted to check if there are any questions like before. Yeah, there are no questions, but yeah, we'll just stick around for like a few more minutes, just to also day, not every day. I'm not sure about every day. Every day is very, it's interesting, it's very scary. I don't want to say I'll be here every day, because I'm not sure in terms of commitment. But then tomorrow I'll be here, the day after that I'll be here, that I'm sure of, and then we'll see how it goes from there, and then we can make it a more regular thing where people can join here on a daily basis. But for now, let's just assume that I'll be here only tomorrow, not every day. Yeah, well, so yeah, that's pretty much about it for now. Previous live, I'm just gonna touch on that, and then we go right back into the studying, right? So they basically asked the question, how do you get peak focus? I think that was the question. Like, how do I achieve peak focus, right? Like, how do I get to a state whereby I am focused on my work and I'm not distracted by these small things? And my response to that was simply the fact that don't focus on focusing, right? So focus on what is making you not focus. I know that's a lot of English, but then essentially what I'm saying is that you are not focusing because there's something that distracting you, right? The same way, okay, I can't think of another example, but then you are not focused because there's something that keeps on distracting you. So focus more on that distraction and how you can eliminate it, and don't focus too much on trying so hard to focus, because the more you try, the more that distraction is still gonna come. If the distraction is your phone, you can't stay away from your phone. Then focus on fixing your I don't know, your addiction or whatever you wanna call it with your phone, right? So that is the main problem. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had to say about that, right? Like, focus a lot on your what you call this thing, focus on your distractions. Make sure you eliminate those distractions. You know yourself, right? So you should know how you can best work on yourself. Moss is saying my assignments are mostly coding. Yes, they're not mostly, they are coding, right? So that's the only thing we do basically. There's nothing outside of that. So we're basically given a question, and then you just need to find a solution to that question, right? So one of the most basic questions, they give you your name, they give you Moss, right? They say arrange these letters alphabetically, right? So you know that you have to start with your M, and then MNOP. Oh, funny enough, your name is already arranged alphabetically, but then with my name it would be a different story. If I'm given Ofentse, I would have to start with the E and then come the F, E, F, G, yeah, somewhere around those lines. So I would have to like organize this. So we're basically given questions like that, whereby you are asked to do these things through coding. And yeah, and the example I just gave you was something from last year, something that we did last year. So you can just imagine what we're doing now. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. I think we're gonna go back now in a minute, right? 21:55. So when we're going back now at 21:55, our 25-minute session is going to end at 22 what? 22:20, right? That's 22, that's 25 minutes, and then that's pretty much about it. Hello there, Asta. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Asta, because it's double A. I'm not sure. Asta. Yeah, somewhere around those lines. Apologies if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but yeah. So we're about to go back now for like a very, very quick 25-minute session, and then we come back. So we're only left with 2 sessions to complete, right? So, or the first 25-minute session, and then a 5-minute break in between, and then the last one, and then we're done for the day, right? And then a form of staying consistent in a sense, right? So for the most part, we struggle a lot. Actually, you're actually accustomed, or you're used to a particular routine, right? It becomes easier for you to just automatically get that motivation. So for example, if you come here to this live every single day at 9 p.m, you come to your YouTube, you check the live, you know that 9 p.m is time to study, right? So it's something that's automatically logged. So for the most part, what happens is that we want to study at the most random times, and then now when you're trying to study, you're like, I'm not feeling like studying today, and then you just drop it, right? So it's like we're essentially trying to establish that routine when it comes to studying, so that it becomes more of a habit. It becomes a habit, so that even when exam season approaches, when it's exam time, it's gonna be easier for you to, number one, catch up, because you won't necessarily be catching up, you'll be revising, right? Because you've been studying every single day. And then number two, you won't be as stressed as other people, right? So for you, it will be more of a breeze. And yeah, that's essentially the main thing we're trying to accomplish with these lives. I only started yesterday. Before that, I was doing the lives, but then they were not consistent. So now we're gonna try and do them every single day and see how far we can go with it, right? But yeah, I've been yapping. That's enough yapping. So we're gonna go back and log in to 20. Yeah, 20 minutes past 10. So 22:20. Yes, that is correct. And yeah, let's log in. All that. So we are down to our last break and our last study session. We're gonna commence now and because this thing now we'll basically be closing it up. We'll be wrapping it up. This is the last session of the night. One more 25 and then we're done. If there's anything. Oh, Mustafa was asking what country I'm in. The time at that time was 9:01. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm in South Africa, so it's probably just time zone problems and stuff like that. So yeah, it's different issues. Yeah, I mean different 10:01, and that is what was happening at the time. Hello Eunice. Hello Eunice. You're very very late. The session is about to end now in 30 minutes basically. So we're gonna wrap it up at 11 p.m. and call it a night. Call it a night because we've been here for the longest time. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for now. We're just gonna go in for one more 25-minute session, and then right after that one we close it up. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Because we are still starting, right? My actual subscribers don't know that we're doing the regular live study sessions. So I'm just gonna also post about it. I'm gonna create a post that join us every single day at 8 p.m. for a study session. Wara wara wara. You see. So yeah, that's pretty much how it's gonna be. But yeah, for now I think that's about it from my side, right? We're just gonna go in for one more. I think after that about it from my side at least. I see also there are no questions here. There. Up. I just wanna check. I think with this thing I always need to like check if the volume is proper and also if I'm visible. Because this new technology with the times and the study with me's, they make a whole glitch thing. So sometimes like yeah, it gets left behind because of the network, blah blah blah. So I have to regularly check if I'm actually talking. Yeah, well. But yeah, that's pretty much about it for this session. So we're just gonna go back in. I'm also about to wrap up with my assignment. So this is like the last session, and then we're closing it for the night. And then yeah, there's school tomorrow, so we need to get up early and stuff. So yeah, thank you to everyone who was able to join this one. I think I'll see you on the next one. For now, we're just going back for 25 more minutes, just the last 25 minutes. That's gonna end at around 22:50. Or if you feel like you still have something to do, you can just push it over to 11 p.m. But then essentially the live is gonna end at around 22:50, and that'll be about it for the day, right? So yeah, lwazi, consistency and notifications next time. What do you mean? For this guy? No man, it's something I only started yesterday. So we're trying to see what is the best time to actually go live and start studying. But hey man, hey, this UCT thing, me have given up. Whatever happens, right? With UCT, it can decide what it wants for me. If it wants me to fail, it's fine. But I choose sleep, man. I choose sleep. So for now, I think this week mainly because studying, right? And then from next week, that's when hours. That's for next week during test week. But for now, I think I just wanna establish a proper routine just so that the studying can make sense, because if you start now with the whole sleeping at 4 a.m. thing, most of the things that you study you won't remember, right? So now you're gonna have to come back and revise. Sometimes you don't even get the time to come back and revise. So it's like they just come out exam time now, everything is out, right? So just try and optimize this time whereby you don't have any exams, you don't have any upcoming tests, right? Just what you call this thing, just optimize this time and make sure that everything is proper once one. But yeah, man, I'm here every single day at 8 p.m. I don't know what you mean by consistency. I was here yesterday at 8 p.m. Even vandaag, I started this thing at 8 p.m. Tomorrow, I'm not sure. Actually, there's school tomorrow, so I might lie. But yeah, I'll also be here eventually at some point tomorrow. Maybe not 8 p.m., maybe 9, but eventually I'll be here. So it's me just trying to establish that consistency with you guys. Kawara, man, I'm still around. I'm not going anywhere. But for now, yeah, I was basically saying we're wrapping it up. This is the last session. If you want to us, we still love ourselves, we choose ourselves over UCT, so yeah, man, that's pretty much about it. So yeah, this last, you call this thing, it's gonna start at 22:30, right? So 22:30, which is in 2 minutes, and yeah, that will be about it. I just want to see how long this live was. So this one was approximately 2 minutes. It's gonna end at approximately 2 minutes and 30 something, right? So like around those lines, that's when we're gonna close it. For now, I just wanted to also that thing, because it was very, very important, right? Someone asked about the whole concept of procrastination. I don't know how long I'm gonna take to talk about this, but then basically my answer to that is always the same. You don't procrastinate. You don't have enjoy better than the tasks that you should be doing, right? So the moment you say to yourself, you're like, I'll do it later, right? There is something that you're doing at that particular moment. You can't be reading a book and then you have an assignment and then you're like, I'll do the assignment later, I'm still reading. Maybe there are people like that, but I'm just saying there is that one thing, and for the most part you know that it's your phone, right? You know that maybe it's sleeping, so you sleep a lot, you are on your phone a lot, and then you are basically postponing these tasks. I don't want to call that procrastination, because your distraction, the devil is right in front of you, right? The thing that's making you, I don't know, the thing that's making you postpone those tasks is right in front of your face. So basically just try and work on how you can best work around that distraction, right? How you can best eliminate that distraction, how you can best choose them unnecessarily, or those extra 3 hours that you sleep during the day, you know that you don't need it, but because you are avoiding the work, you just put in the 3 hours, or it's unnecessary, you don't need it. So just try and work around that. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. That's all I wanted to say on that short topic. I think I'll make more videos just trying to explain it, but for now, yeah, that's pretty much about it. So we're gonna go back to the last session, right? So this one is gonna end at 20. questions, we go right into ending the live. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, but for now, let's log in for one more session and then we'll close it after that. Okay. Yeah. Good evening. Yeah, that's pretty much about it from me. So that was the last session. Yeah, that was the last study session, and I think we're gonna wrap it up here. I was looking at the chat box. People are talking about pH levels. What isn't pH? Yeah, it's 7, man. I don't know, but yeah, we're just gonna wrap it up now. It's 11 p.m. right? So if it was on a normal day, it was gonna be until 12, right? So we're gonna go for 1 more hour, but yeah, and then we'll be back here same time, same place next week. I mean, not next week, tomorrow. Sorry. And if there are any questions, I think you can start typing now and just drop them in the chat box. But other than that, that's pretty much about it from. Um, on Twitch, they're saying my keyboard is not even on. It's on, but I don't even know why I'm entertaining that. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. We're gonna close it there, and then we'll. Today, that's pretty much about it for me. We're gonna close it there. I've been saying goodbye. Something, but if there's nothing, we're just gonna wrap it up, and yeah. Um, going once. Yeah, that's pretty much about it for me. Oh, okay, there is a Tendo. I was literally about to press that button. Which one is better, memory or understanding? That's a very interesting question. Which one is better, memory or understanding? Um, it depends. It depends, honestly. With me, with my maths, for example, right? It is definitely about understanding. Okay, I don't do maths. With computer science, for example, it's all about understanding, because they test you on your practical application and all that, right? They basically ask you questions that are not in the textbook, right? So it's all about understanding. But in situations where it's very very tricky, and you're actually like, your test is in 2 days or your test is tomorrow, right? It's definitely all about memory, and you can optimize your memory in such a way that you remember the things that you study. So for example, doing past papers, right? So what I used to do in high school is that if I if I am if I am late, if I've been postponing a test, right, I'm writing a test tomorrow and I haven't been studying, right, and I have so much content to cover, obviously I wouldn't go through that in content, right? I wouldn't go through the textbook reading and all that. What I would do is immediately go to the past papers, right? I go to the past papers, open the past paper, look at and check the memo. Oh, okay, this is what it is. And then I go to the textbook, go to that particular section, read a bit more, and then continue like that. So what I'm doing here, I'm basically not necessarily understanding the content, but I'm familiarizing myself with what they're going to ask. I'm memorizing the questions that they're to ask, right? So understanding is better in such periods. You don't have any upcoming tests, you don't have anything going on, so definitely focus on the understanding. Spend hours trying to understand that is above your level, right? The things that you are learning right now, they are meant to be there. So there's nothing outside of your scope of understanding. So just try and give yourself time. If you haven't spent on a particular topic, then you are in absolutely no position to complain about it being difficult, because if you haven't spent more than 3 hours focusing on that one thing, then you haven't tried, you basically haven't given yourself the time to try and definitely better. Why am I glitching now? I don't know why I'm glitching, but yeah, definitely understanding. But I'm just saying, as a side tip, if you have not been studying, your test is tomorrow, it's it's not looking good, right? It's not looking good in terms of you being able to cover the entire content. Then definitely go for memorizing. And is that people didn't study enough, but then in the morning of the exam, right, you haven't covered all the content, but then you come to school, you have the textbook on your hand. You haven't covered all this content, but then maybe an hour or 2 hours before the exam, you open thing, right? If you're someone who does that on the morning of the test, you go through your notes or you go through your textbook. Avoid doing that, right? Start focusing on the questions, memorize the questions, memorize the pattern in which they ask the questions, right? This is not something I'm supposed to be promoting, because you should have studied a long time ago, so that those things are in your memory. But in dire situations, we can't necessarily we can't avoid them, right? There comes those times whereby you haven't covered all the content, the test is here, right? So I'm just saying, when such moments come, just make sure you don't visit your textbook, you don't visit those notes that they gave you in class. Focus on the questions, familiarize yourself with the questions that they're going to ask you, because one thing about you going through the textbook and reading through your textbook on the day of the exam, you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know what they're going to ask, right? You're reading an entire page and you find that in that entire page there's nothing that was asked, right? So but compared to when you're looking at past papers, it's a whole repetition thing. They do repeat questions. So if you've looked at one question and maybe you came across it twice, right? So there's a possibility of them repeating it this year, right? I remember in my final year of high school, I used to basically have this magical thing, right, of basically predicting questions, and it would work, right? It would only work because I would know that, okay, they said this type of question 2 years ago, and then before that it was in 2019, before that it was in 2017. This is most likely going to come, right? And it would happen for most of the time. I'm not psychic, I'm not whatever, but then it would just be me understanding the frequency, or the order, not the order, man, I don't know the word for it, but then essentially the format in which they ask the questions, I better understand what they would ask me, what they could possibly ask me rather, right? So it's easier once you're familiarizing yourself with a quadrillion questions, right? So when there's no time, take my word for it, do as many questions as you can, write down the ones that you didn't understand, rewrite them, come back to them. If you don't understand the memo and you don't understand the question, then that's when you can refer to your textbook to better understand that particular question that was in the past paper, right? But then directly, if your time is not on your side, you look at the question, you look at the memo, you try and understand that answer, and then that's it, right? There's no magic behind it. It's very, very simple, not simple. But yeah, I'm not sure if there are any more questions. I'm planning on closing it in the next minute or so. So pretty much about it from my side. Let me see. Once in like a minute, and then if there are no questions, I usually, for the most part, I don't really like answer questions based on my study routine or my study method, right? So if someone comes to me and they're like, how do you study, right? I usually turn the question back and I'm like, how do you study, right? So now they are forced to tell me their method, and then with that, it's easier for you to be able to identify your gaps in your study method, other than adopting someone else's entire study method and then at the end of the day it doesn't work for you, right? So Spidey, we all hate studying, no one loves studying, but we just force the studying, right? There's a reason. That's one of the reasons why these live videos are here, right? To just hold you accountable. When I come here and I'm like, we're going to study for 25 minutes, please come back after 25 minutes. You can go and not study anything, but then when you come back after that 25 minutes, with each session that you spend on a live video, even if it's not this one, but with each session that you spend on a live video, there's a certain level of motivation that keeps coming when that person is like, let's take a 5-minute break, let's talk, and then after that we're gonna study for a quick 25 minutes and then we come back, right? It's like studying with someone by your side, so it becomes easier. Is chemistry difficult in 11th? I don't know. I don't remember, basically, right? So I think I was scared of 11th grade, right? So in grade 10, on how the 11th grade is the most difficult, right? It's a whole concept thing, right? And it's partially true, but then now if you go and look at my marks, the marks that I got for my grade 11, you'll notice that if you compare them to the other grades, I was actually at my peak in grade 11, right? So the 11th grade was like my peak, and then I went down a bit in 12th grade, but it was literally the opposite of what people used to say to me, right? So experiences are gonna be different, so don't ask people. Yes, you can ask, it prepares you mentally, like asking me, how is university, how is uni life, what can I expect? Yes, you can ask those questions and then I tell you, but you should still keep it in mind that our experiences are gonna be totally different. What I struggle with, you might find it, it might be the easiest thing for you. Like, I know a lot of people who struggled with the 11th grade. For me, I was just cruising. And then grade 12, I know people who skyrocketed up, and then with me, I started decreasing because my mental health thing. And you just have to understand that I tell you that chemistry in 11th grade is difficult. Don't take my word for it. See it for yourself, right? Wait for your turn, and then just go through it, and then you'll realize that it's not as bad as he portrayed it, or something like that. But yeah, I'm just gonna check if there's any more questions. I don't know why this thing keeps glitching. I keep glitching. And yeah, like moral support too, yeah, basically. So it's something that just helps you in the long what's this word, accountability, right? So you are able to follow a structured routine. I think for the most part, it's very, very difficult, right? It's one of the most difficult things I've noticed. It's very easy to start a study routine, but then actually maintaining it, right now we can talk about your daily routine, about how you want to wake up at 6 a.m, you want to study for 7 hours and things, right? But then when I come back to you after a week and I ask you how it's going, I might even find that you even abandon that routine completely, right? So maintaining a routine is not something that we are now in April. I don't know how many study timetables I've drafted. Now that I think of it, there are so many. I've abandoned most of them. There's this one actually. Okay, it's not in here. I just wanted to show a quick visual representation, but then it's not in here. It's a very, very tricky situation, and it's a lot of trial and error. It takes a lot of trial and error to just be able to get that perfect routine at 8 p.m. until right now, right? It's something new. I've never tried this before, but then I'm trying it to see how best I can study during this time, how best I can study when I'm on a study live and there are people who are asking questions, and then I'm also getting motivated. They are also getting motivated. It's a new thing. I've never tried it before, but then getting that perfect routine is all about trying these different things. But then if we ask you to try different things and the first thing you say, you're like, I'm not a night owl, only because you've tried it once. I'm not a morning person, right? Try it again and again and again and again. The exact same thing goes for your study methods, right? If you're someone who's been getting 60s using your current method and somehow you are miraculously expecting a 90, or you have a 90 as your goal, but then you are still studying the exact same way, you're putting in you're putting in more effort, but then the method that you're using to study is the problem, right? So there are so many ways to study your different subject, your maths, your physics, your biology, your theoretical subjects. There are so many different ways, right? And you'll find that there's an right now. Maybe there's just that little switch that you need to do for you, right? So don't be afraid to actually explore. Go to your YouTube right now. After this live video, we're gonna be, as soon as we're done, go to your YouTube, start searching how to study maths, right? For example, I also have a video on that, on how to best excel in mathematics, how to excel in life sciences. But just go to your YouTube, look at how there are so many different ways people explain it. And right now you have no exams coming up, maybe a few tests here and there, but then it's not yet exam season. This is the perfect time for you to be able to try those different methods, implement different study methods into your life, see what works best for you. And obviously the best way to see if a method works, and once you're done with the studying, what do? Take out a past paper. Very, very simple. You take out a past paper, you treat that past paper like it's your actual exam, right? You treat it like it's your exam. You put it there, you set a timer, you start writing, you finish at that time, before that time, and then you start marking like your teacher. You mark exactly how your teacher would mark it while looking at your memo. You put your mark there. You see that you got a 57 out of 150, which is very bad, right? So now you know where you're standing. And then what happens from there, you identify your weak points. You see the questions that you got wrong. Don't just look at the memo once and you're like, oh, this is what I was supposed to write instead of that. Especially when it comes to tests that you've written so far. Question is gonna come back in the exam and you're gonna get it wrong again because you were just like, oh, and then you moved on from it, right? So try as much as possible to be able to, I remember I used to have a book, to have an entire A4, is it called, not A4, 2-quire, right? You see that big book, this type of book. I used to have this type of book, and it was basically just full of mistakes that I made in each each subject. For example, in maths, I would literally have a mistake there. Number one, you always forget the negative, right? So you always forget to multiply by 3, you forget to factorize. All of these different mistakes, I would write them all in that book. And then when that the exam approaches, I go through this entire book, read through it, make sure I treat it like I'm actually studying these things, right? And I'm like, I have to make sure I don't miss this, I have to make sure I don't forget the negative, I have to make sure I factorize, right? Biology, it is a bit different, but then it's exactly the same thing, in a sense that you are also identifying your weak points. For example, with the what is in bio, for example, your what you call this thing, what is it? Cell replication, what is it? DNA replication. Yeah, so with DNA replication, you will notice that it's a step-by-step. Now you take that step number 3 as it is, you write it in that book of mistakes. Now every single time that question comes, because it's in your book of mistakes, when that question comes, it's gonna be the first thing that comes to your mind before the actual answer, right? The process of DNA replication, it's the first thing that comes to your mind. Those mistakes, you're like, okay, let me not forget step 3, and then you go about the entire question, right? So yeah, there are so many different things. I could sit here the entire day and talk to you guys, but it's very late. You seem like a very sweet person. We'll study with you for the next few hours if you're on live. Yeah, unfortunately, closing it. That's why I'm yapping like this. Why do you think I'm talking so much? We're just wrapping it up right now. So we've been here, I think, for the past 4 hours now, if I'm not mistaken. So we're wrapping it up, and then we'll be back tomorrow at around this time. But yeah, thank you so much. I don't know if there are any more questions, because you guys are just looking at me and now I'm the one talking. I feel like I don't know how I'm supposed to feel now. I have people who are here watching me, and I'm just continuing with the talking. But if I would love a bit more interaction. If there's none, if there are no questions in the next few seconds, I'm just gonna cut it off, because I do have things I want to say. I do have a lot of tips, I do have a lot of knowledge to share, but then at the same time, I want it to be promptful. I want it to be responsive, right? I want to respond to something. I just don't want to be here blabbering about the things that I would love for people to know, but then they should come in the form of questions, right? But yeah, I think we're gonna close it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't have an intro, I don't have an outro. All I'm gonna say is good night. Not today, Tendo, maybe tomorrow. I do share during my breaks, right? I do share what I can share during the breaks, but all I'm saying is I share information better when asked, not asked to share the information, but then asked a question. Like, for example, someone asked me, oh, it was actually you asked me, which is better, memory or understanding? And I think I spent like 5 minutes answering that simple question. I literally just had to answer memory or understanding, but then I spent like 5 minutes trying to elaborate, right? So it's that type of interaction that I'm on that question, not me just choosing to say, hey guys, so today I'll be answering. I want to tell you guys which one is better between memory and understanding. I just come to you guys and I say the most random things. That's a bit yeah, but though you also don't have any questions, you're just listening, right? So maybe tomorrow you can cook something, and everyone else who's watching, I think there's like what, 8 or 9 people watching, which is a lot. 8 people is a lot, yo. 8 random people, 8 strangers listening to you. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for everyone. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who was able to join me at any point whatsoever throughout the live, right? Even if you just joined a few minutes ago, like Spidey, that's still perfectly fine. We'll still be here tomorrow. If you have any questions, store them for tomorrow, because I'm tired of talking now. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for me. Goodbye once again. I've been saying bye. Have a good night. God bless you, and enjoy the rest of your academic journey. People like Spidey, no one, just some final words. No one likes studying. I don't like studying, right? I'm just forcing myself to, but then it's the content sometimes when I actually understand it. That's when I'm like, oh, okay, let me continue. But I don't like doing this. Don't see this fancy setup here with the headphones and the light and everything, and you think this is what I enjoy doing for a living. I would rather scroll on my phone the entire day than do this, right? But just discipline wise and everything in between, this is obviously the best thing to do. So yeah, thank you very much and have a good night. Once again, do subscribe if you haven't already. I've actually never said that ever on my channel, but yeah.